Toledo apartment intrusion attempt. It was well past midnight when the faint sound of knocking echoed through the dim hallways of a modest apartment complex in Toledo, Ohio. The neighborhood was mostly quiet, with only the low hum of distant traffic and the occasional bark of a dog breaking the stillness. Inside one of the ground floor units, 32-year-old Rebecca Ellis stirred awake to the unexpected noise. A cautious woman by nature, she immediately reached for her phone and opened the Doorbell camera app she had installed just months prior. What she saw sent a jolt through her chest. The screen showed a man standing at her front door, tall and lanky, with his hood up and face partially hidden in the shadows. But what truly alarmed her was the distinct bulge in his waistband, a handgun tucked casually under his hoodie. Her heart began to race. She didn't recognize him. Rebecca, still lying in bed but now fully alert, activated the two-way audio on the camera. "Who is it?" she asked, her voice firm despite the tremble she felt inside. "It's me," the man said. The response was unsettling. No name, no explanation. Just a vague, almost taunting statement. She asked again, this time louder, more direct. "Who are you? What do you want?" The man gave a lazy wave through the lens of the doorbell camera, offering no further details. For a few tense seconds he stood still. Then, almost casually, he turned and began to walk away. Rebecca exhaled, thinking perhaps he had decided to leave. But the relief was short-lived. From the grainy black and white footage, another figure emerged. A second man stepped out from behind a dumpster, barely 20 feet away from her door. He joined the first, and together they disappeared out of frame. Rebecca could feel the panic rising again. Instinctively, she got out of bed, grabbed the pepper spray she kept in her nightstand, and tiptoed to the back of her apartment. She turned off the lights to reduce visibility from outside and peeked through the rear blinds. Her worst fears were confirmed. There they were, the same two figures now at her back door. One of them was crouched, fiddling with something near the doorknob. The other stood guard, looking around every few seconds. Rebecca grabbed her phone again and dialed 911. She gave the dispatcher her address and a clear account of what was happening. As she did, the camera at her back door activated, capturing the would-be intruders attempting to pick the lock. "They're trying to break in. I can see them right now on my camera. One has a gun, I think." "Please hurry," she whispered into the phone. The dispatcher told her to stay on the line and move to a safe space. Rebecca went into her bathroom, locked the door, and crouched in the tub, clutching her phone and spray, praying help would arrive in time. Just 5 minutes later, though it felt like an eternity, red and blue lights flashed outside her windows. The unmistakable whoop of sirens followed. She returned to her living room cautiously and saw through the front peephole that the intruders were gone. The police did a sweep of the property, but found no sign of the men. However, they confirmed tool marks on the back door and retrieved the footage from Rebecca's doorbell cam. Officers reassured her they would enhance the video and circulate the images to try and identify the suspects. In the following days, Rebecca found it difficult to sleep. The intrusion attempt had shaken her deeply. Her neighbors, once friendly but distant, now rallied around her. Some even bought and installed their own security systems after hearing what had happened. Despite police efforts, the two men were never identified. Analysis of the video suggested that the backpack carried by the first suspect was nearly empty, possibly ready to be filled with stolen goods. But law enforcement officials didn't rule out more sinister motives, given the brazenness and coordination of the attempt. Rebecca eventually moved out of the apartment complex a few months later. She said the place no longer felt like home. Still, the footage she provided served as a cautionary tale, circulating widely on local news and social media. It was a chilling reminder of how quickly an ordinary night can turn into a nightmare, and how valuable a single security camera can be in capturing it all. The knife-wielding clown in Texas. In the pre-dawn quiet of a suburban Texas neighborhood where picket fences lined the streets and porch lights softly glowed, the unexpected happened. It was early October 2016, a time when the internet was abuzz with stories of people dressed as creepy clowns showing up in unexpected places, part prank, part menace. But for one homeowner, the viral trend would veer into the territory of real danger. At approximately 3:17 a.m., Jason Maxwell, a 38-year-old father of two, awoke to a sharp jolt. It wasn't a sound that roused him, but a sense. He later described it as a gut feeling, an unshakable unease that something was off. Checking his phone out of habit, he noticed a motion alert from the security system he had installed just 2 weeks prior. He opened the feed. There, captured in the stark clarity of infrared night vision, was a figure moving across his backyard. Jason sat up straighter, blinking in disbelief. The person was wearing a clown mask, gaudy red lips stretched wide in a frozen grin, mismatched eyes staring blankly, and a full circus-style costume, yellow and purple, with large polka dots. In one hand, unmistakably, was a large kitchen knife. The figure wasn't in a hurry. It moved with eerie calmness, testing door handles, peering into windows. Jason's wife, Sandra, now awake from the sudden movement in bed, whispered, "What is it?" He handed her the phone. "Oh my God," she breathed, hand covering her mouth. Jason got out of bed and quietly made his way to the front window, carefully parting the curtain. The clown had moved from the side yard to the front porch, now just feet from their door. The knife glinted each time the figure passed under the porch light. Rather than confront the intruder, Jason called 911. "There's a man in a clown suit in my yard," he told the dispatcher. "He has a knife. He's trying the doors." The dispatcher remained calm, but Jason could tell from her tone that this wasn't the first call like this. She instructed him to remain indoors, keep the doors locked, and stay on the line until officers arrived. Meanwhile, the clown had noticed the doorbell camera and looked directly into it. For a chilling moment, he tilted his head sideways, slowly, then raised the knife and tapped it gently against the doorframe. Jason and Sandra watched in horror as the figure then bent down and peered through the mail slot. After a minute of standing completely still, the clown finally turned and walked back into the yard. But it didn't leave. Instead, it circled the house, trying each door one more time before disappearing into the shadows. The police arrived 10 minutes later. A search of the area turned up nothing. No suspicious vehicles, no footprints, no trace of the clown. When the sun came up, Jason reviewed the footage again, then posted a clip to a neighborhood safety group on Facebook. The video quickly went viral, attracting the attention of local news stations. People were both horrified and fascinated. Was it a prank, or was it something more sinister? Detectives followed up, canvassing the neighborhood and collecting camera footage from nearby homes. Unfortunately, the clown's identity was never confirmed. The costume and mask were common, easily bought from a store or online, and no fingerprints or physical evidence were left behind. Though no break-in had occurred and no one was harmed, the incident left a lasting impact on Jason and his family. For weeks, their children were afraid to sleep in their own rooms. Jason installed additional cameras and replaced all locks, while Sandra joined a local neighborhood watch. To some, the clown craze of 2016 was little more than a disturbing Halloween stunt that got out of hand. But to the Maxwells, it was a real and terrifying encounter with a masked stranger who had no business being near their home, and possibly far more dangerous intentions than anyone would care to imagine. The viral video remains one of the most unsettling entries in the online archive of doorbell camera horror, a stark reminder that not all costumes hide innocent fun. Some conceal something far more menacing. Housefire caught spreading, Overland Park, KS, March 2017. A neighbor's camera films a raging housefire just across the street. The blaze spreads fast, and flaming debris ignites bushes nearby. A vigilant neighbor notices and grabs a hose to control the flames while ringing the doorbell to alert the residents. No one is home, but communication occurs through the doorbell speaker. Firefighters eventually arrive and extinguish the blaze before it spreads further. Thanks to quick neighbor action, the damage is contained. Stranger aggressively banging on door, September 2022. Around 3 a.m., a doorbell cam records a man pounding insistently on a front door. He yells, asking someone to come out and speak to him. When ignored, he moves to the street briefly, then returns more agitated. He slams on the door again, shouting. The homeowner contacts police. The man's erratic behavior is unexplained, and he vanishes before authorities arrive. Man sets fire with gasoline, August 2020. A disturbing early morning clip shows a man dousing a yard and porch with fuel, then disappearing before flames erupt moments later. The fire damages multiple homes and a car, though no injuries are reported. The homeowner claims to have no clue why they were targeted. The seemingly random nature of the act only heightens the fear behind it. Imposters posing as police, Columbus, September 2021. A man reviewing his doorbell feed around 3 a.m. sees two young men claiming to be from the Columbus police. One holds a gun. Through the camera speaker, the homeowner asks for ID. The lead male refuses to show a badge. Sensing danger, the resident contacts real law enforcement. The pair linger a few minutes more, trying to coax him outside, then run away. Police never found them. Their true intent, likely robbery, remains unconfirmed. Thief returns with stolen keys, May 2018. A woman leaves her car unlocked overnight. Someone steals items, including a set of keys. Hours later, the same man shows up at her front door and attempts to enter with those keys. Thankfully, the stolen set didn't include a house key. He eventually gives up and leaves. The homeowner had been sleeping during the attempt, unaware of how close she came to danger. Man wipes prints after failed entry. A strange man approaches a home wearing an eerie mask. He grabs the locked doorknob, then knocks lightly. Seconds later, he covers his hand with his sleeve and wipes the handle, likely erasing prints. He strolls off, only to be spotted across the street, sitting in a vehicle. When the homeowner confronts him, he drives off. Police couldn't identify the man, though the fingerprint removal suggests he may have had a criminal history.
Persistent man with sinister tone, July 2021. A woman named Amanda captures footage of a bearded man ringing her bell and knocking persistently late at night.
He repeats that he has a few questions for her. She ignores him, then calls her husband and dials 911. Her husband accesses the cam remotely and uses the speaker to ask what he wants. The man replies coldly, stating he's looking for a girl with a knife. He then walks off, mumbling to himself. Amanda shares the footage online, which leads to the man's arrest.